Okay, I think we're actually live. All right, it wasn't working before, but yeah, awesome. So we are live now, Jeff.
Oh, sweet.
And Yeah, it looks like everything's working. So thanks everyone for waiting for us. I think we're actually right on time. But I just want to say that we've got a special one for you all today. This is, I think, a first for us in terms of subject matter and things like that. So I'm really excited. And for all of you in the U.S., I wish you a happy MLK Day. But yeah, we've got a special guest with us. We've got Jeff Thrasher, and I'm going to throw it over him in a minute just to give an intro on his experience and what he does and what he specializes in. But um, we're going to do some apparel today, and I'm really excited about this one. I'm really excited to learn a lot from you, Jeff. I know that you have a lot of experience in this industry, and so I'm really excited to get down into it. We have a challenge going on right now, and the challenge is to design for an Arctic marathon. And you can submit your creations through the hashtag Gravity Sketch Challenge hashtag on Instagram, and we'll take those submissions and we'll look through them and we'll post some of our favorites and we'll feature um, some of our favorite creations that the community creates. And so, in the name of that challenge that we have running, we thought it'd be great if we brought Jeff on to spin up a little bit of inspiration and also a little bit of maybe how you can approach the project yourself. But without further ado, my name is Jaren Dorman, by the way, and I work at Gravity Sketch as a content creator, and get to have amazing interactions with people like Jeff and people in the community. And so, why don't I just throw it over to you, Jeff, real quick? If you just want to give an intro on who you are, what do you do at Gravity Sketch, and what's your uh, what's your professional experience?
Yeah, Jaren, thank you for having me and everything. And this is pretty rad. This is the first for me to be um on YouTube live and everything. So this is pretty rad to do this live. I've never done this before except for obviously in the trainings that we're running for some brands. But yeah, for I work for Gravity Sketch. And I'm the apparel design specialist here. So I help write the curriculum on all things apparel design, utilizing Gravity Sketch, and everything from ideation, explorations. We have a couple methods of teaching around just wireframe and drawing, to like full on like one piece of draping, to the execution, to helping build out what the future looks like for a tech pack. And those are documents and drawings on how to actually get what's being drawn here in. Oops, I hit my microphone. Sorry. What's going on here in the Gravity Sketch realm, and that creativity and problem solving that's going on in here, to creating full documents on how to actually make the physical sample, with the factory partners or sample making partners or pattern makers and developers. So it's been a fun ride here to really discover what Gravity Sketch can do for apparel designers, and it's a continuous discovery. It's a continuous we're having continuous like unlocks on like, oh shoot, we can do this now with this and with this tool, and we can take the same tool sometimes and like, oh, we can do this now and everything. So it's been a journey, and we see that it's going to be I keep saying the word continuous, but continuous journey
Yeah, yeah.
and evolution of using this tool. So it's been pretty rad so far.
Yeah, yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I think as you were talking, I mean, we're just starting to tap into the, what's possible with apparel, and I think I think we're scratching the surface, and you've definitely been blowing the lid up, the top off of that, Jeff. With what I think people thought was possible with apparel. And if you want to check out Jeff's stuff, I think you've got stuff on your Instagram. Is that right, Jeff?
I do.
Yeah,
Instagram, LinkedIn has
yeah,
some stuff, and then also yeah, we on YouTube we have our
of
apparel
course.
design playlist.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, we also do the apparel design playlist, which Jeff's been doing, and but yeah, we'll link to all of that once the live is over. I'll put the links up, but yeah, let's just dive right into it. I don't know how you want to start it, Jeff, but I'll just ask
Oh yeah.
questions throughout the process. I also want to mention for anybody watching, if you have any questions for myself or for Jeff, throw it in the chat. I have my eyes on that as it's going, so I'm happy to answer. I'm happy to take any of those questions and throw them over to Jeff if you got any, and we'll just do it that way. So ask away in the chat, and welcome. Thank you for watching. If you can't stay for the whole thing, this will be available after it's over as well. So I see you're bringing a mannequin in here, which is appropriate. I think sounds like that would be step one, I guess.
Yeah, it could be I'm just gonna use a male mannequin for now. Yeah, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep the mannequin completely split by the mirror plane. Jaren, on your side, in through your headset, can you see the mirror plane that's splitting the dummy?
I
The
can't
dress
see the
form guy?
I can't see the plane. I don't think that translates in collab. But I trust you.
Okay. All right, all good. All good. So yeah, there's a mirror plane that's splitting. I wonder, you know what? Actually, yeah, I'm gonna do something real quick. And just for you and the viewers. Oh, I wonder if you can see this photograph. Can you see? I have an instant photo. Can you see this? Oops.
Yeah, we can actually see the plane in that photo too.
Okay, so there's a plane in here. So I mean, if this helps, if there's some things that just because it's just unique to my UI, like the mirror plane. I'll take a picture of this. I'm more than happy to do that. Just kind of show you and the viewers what I was talking about. But yeah, I'm gonna keep the mannequin split by this mirror plane here, this grayed out rectangle. So what I'm gonna do, whatever happens on one side of the mannequin is gonna automatically happen on the other side. I think a lot of us maybe, or a lot of viewers might already know that, but just keep that because then it's just this helps you. This tool helps you just get instant feedback on your drawing, on your ergonomics and everything, what you're drawing. So another thing, what I'm going to do is, now that we have the dress form guy, I'm going to also make another layer. I love using layers, just kind of like with Photoshop, Illustrator. I don't need these two layers right here. I like to clean off my layers as well. Okay, good. There you go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this as the dress form layer, and then I'm going to make another layer that's called my drawing layer. So I keep everything kind of separated. So drawing, if I'm going to do a line drawing and then surface over that, then I'll split a layer called line and then one called surface layer. But in the meantime, I'm going to also add another layer called references. So as all of us creatives and do is we have either we have notes that we take ourselves, or we have references of photographs or hand sketches and everything that we like to bring in. I'm going to bring in, since our theme is like Arctic Marathon, I'm going to bring in some references that kind of will be kind of guiding this creative process. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to pull in some thermal maps, and this is going to kind of inform maybe some design lines, or inform
wow, that's really
where we put different materials and textures. One like this one would be kind of like, this is a heat map. This would inform kind of where the shape of our maybe extra padding or layering that we really need. This one actually is kind of a sensitivity guide, but I just pulled some of these images, being that we're going to be kind of designing for the elements. So that's going to kind of help when we start laying out our design lines and everything. I'm going to move this over. Oh, sorry, Darren.
No worries. I was just trying to move it for you. There we go.
Yeah, all good. So yeah, sometimes like when I start out, it's like I just kind of have these kind of floating around, or I might even draw like a wall back here behind the mannequin, kind of figuratively paste it on the wall, and then I could type out kind of like thermal mapping sweat or sensitive mapping, and I'll make it a little bit more, a little more formal later on. But in this case, we start drawing kind of like this, and then I have some inspiration. I thought was kind of cool. First of all, some inspiration of just some images of kind of a reminder of what we're the environment that we're really designing for, and imagining our our athlete or marathon runner or human being. Just kind of a reminder of these are kind of like that one's a little bit clear.
Very desolate.
Yes, flat, desolate, and I had some other images of some mountain ranges in there too. So I'm just gonna kind of leave this for now. But anyway, so what I was kind of imagining, what I decided I'm gonna kind of start doing is drawing in a one piece, kind of drawing in a one piece format instead of a wireframe. Let's see. And kind of start imagining the first layer. I mean, this guy is going to be wearing a first layer, and I was kind of thinking, what if it is like a one piece kind of thing? Actually, I kind of want to make that a little bit brighter so everybody can see this. And then, so this would be kind of like the base layer. Maybe it could be like part neoprene. Maybe that's the other thing I was going to do. I didn't find, there was maybe some material references I was thinking about, but there's going to be wind that's going to be going on. There's going to be a lot of like thermal challenges going on with temperature and everything. Maybe it could be you're in the sun, and maybe in the shade. It's almost like being like almost in space. So maybe in the sun, you might have a little bit more, a little bit more heat going on, or a little bit more, I guess heat or warm going on. But once you get behind like say a mountain or something like that, then the temperature might be even dropped even more. So yeah, kind of thinking about like what that environment is going to be like. So anyway, I was thinking of maybe a modular system where I'm just kind of going to pull this down to the front, lock these in here. A modular system where it's almost like a triathlon suit, because of the temperature differences, there could be like some modular layering. So I'm just going to kind of wrap this suit around and start building out this base layer. And like I said, I mean, I might even do kind of a hybrid drawing. So again, kind of doing the one piece method here of draping.
And how are you thinking about, because I noticed that you've extended a few edge loops here. How are you thinking about like the edge loops, Jeff? Are you thinking about that as you wrap it around the body for things you want to do later? Are you kind of planning that out, or what's your thought process there?
Yeah, well, with the edge loops, I got to share kind of an interesting kind of thing with you, and how we are teaching out apparel design. Yeah, I'm kind of keeping everything kind of warp and weft. Warp being there's like in the grain line of fabric, there's a warp. These are warp lines, like all those threads that go up and down are the warp, are the warps, where the threads that go left to right or horizontal to the ground is the weft. So when I start laying out like a base layer like this, I will kind of typically keep the warp and the weft pretty straight. But I'm kind of spitballing here as well. Sometimes I will, sometimes, a lot of times I will have hand sketches, which I do have some hand sketches in my file that I was going to bring out, but I thought it would be kind of interesting just kind of play around with the, I just hit my microphone again, sorry. kind of play around with or kind of spitball, kind
Yeah.
of keep sketching. So what I am thinking of um, is definitely a layering a way of layers to help accommodate thermoregulation and adaptation for the athlete. Um, yeah, I do geek out in building apparel for conditions like this, for functional conditions and everything. Before I joined Gravity Sketch, I was in an apparel innovation group. So this is kind of my my old stomping grounds, and I really geek out on this. And
This is, I
I
mean,
don't
you're the perfect person for this. It's a fascinating. And you said you're doing a modular approach. Does that mean like these are elements that you can remove if you wanted?
yes,
Okay, to
yes,
sort of adapt the conditions. Got it.
absolutely. And again, I'm just kind of playing around with this right now, but modular. I mean, I have some other references, some padded references that I'm gonna bring in here. So um, the a clean surface. And this, I mean, we can keep as simple as this shape, or get as complicated as we want as well, with some other paddings actually in the base layer system, which would be really cool as well.
Oh
So
yeah.
we can imagine this base layer system. This could be, could be like a wetsuit almost, or this could be a full-on seamless um, garment as well, with all like warp. I'm sorry, with all knitted. So it could be a non-woven material, like a foam neoprene material, or it's tons of things that we can do with this. I'm just gonna kind of like a mechanic, like a auto mechanic, it way down underneath here. That's the other cool thing about Gravity Sketches. You can zoom in. What am I at? I'm zoomed in at 700%. You can't
Yeah.
you can't do that in any other application. But I'm just kind of down here, um, kind of um, closing up the underside down here.
We've got a question
Like,
from I think it's Nezrine. Um, what effect does the warp and weft principle have on the final surface? For example, after importing, is it important to keep that in mind?
that's that that's a really good question. So what's the effect of it on the? I'm kind of
I guess they're
understand,
asking. Yeah, I guess they're asking
like,
like what effect does that have on the actual um,
sur-
the model?
surface.
Yeah, I guess the model itself.
That's well, when it comes to texturing and adding graphics and textures to it, it does have to do with the organization of how textures are mapped onto the surface. So if you want a cleaner surface, or cleaner visual outlook in Gravity Sketch, um, you want to keep it. Oops, I didn't mean to do that one. You want to keep it pretty much fairly in quads, and that's something that I'm still really learning about, as far as what between tris and quads, as far as like the polygon shapes, because
Hmm.
we really do want to keep this in four-sided shapes
Yeah.
rather than three-sided, and that's something I'm really still learning. And at just very very out of pure transparency, I'm straight up a apparel designer that picked up Gravity Sketch and really found a true value um, in using this for apparel design. And I'm not a like a 3D modeling expert, as far as um, you know polygons and ingons and everything. And I'm learning this from some other like super experts at Gravity Sketch. So
Hmm.
you know um, Gravity hugs. That is just big call out to everyone that I've been learning from at Gravity Sketch. Like, big Gravity hugs, to everyone out there. And
Yeah. For
anyway, huh?
go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, it's like I'm learning a ton, being here as a straight up like apparel designer.
Yeah, yeah. For those that don't know, Gravity Hugs is something we do internally to give props to people that have, done great work or have really supported in a special way and a given project. So that's what Jeff's referring to. But um, yeah, no, that totally makes sense. My own, I think what came to my mind with that question was, I think what you kind of hit on there in the beginning, Jeff, was like if you want to do graphics or if you want to do texturing or something like that on the surface,
Yes.
the topology, as we call it, sort of these edges as they connect, really starts to matter more because it's going to affect the way textures lay across. Now you can do like UV unwrapping and stuff and Blender and sort of fix all of that. Um, but yeah,
Hmm.
the 3D side of it, that's definitely where it veers into the 3D jargon, I guess. Depending on what your workflow is. Not sure what your workflow is, Nesreen, but hopefully that answered your question there. Um, and it says Michael Miller looks like they've got a good answer. You will have to retopo this, then do a new UV map. It's not like Clo that has
Yes.
the UV maps made as the pattern. Yeah, that's definitely correct. Um, but yeah, yeah, all great questions. If there's any more, please keep them coming. We love just answering um, anything you're wondering about. So yeah, keep it coming. Um,
Absolutely.
this is looking really nice though, Jeff. This is like it's a full blown garment already. It's so cool.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna pull out a. I want to select this whole thing, and I know I could use the other tool. I'm just gonna use this one out of just pure habit. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and extract this edge right here. I'm gonna play around with that. I'm gonna do a little half sleeve, and finish out this base layer. And one thing that if anybody's has watched any of our um, apparel design, Gravity Sketch for apparel design playlist, we do have two ways of surfacing. One's called static. Oops, did I move that mannequin or did?
I'm just fixing it for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you.
The left arm was like not exactly symmetrical, so I was just trying to fix it a
Oh,
little
got
bit.
it. Oh, good.
Keep going though.
Oh, yeah. We have two ways of surfacing, or two ways of talking about surfacing for apparel design. One is the static surface surfacing, and then the other one is dynamic surfacing. So just kind of explain the difference. Is currently I'm going about this in a static surface, and that's actually drawing this whole garment without any of the folds and wrinkles that would make this garment like totally realistic. Um, and why I do that is to keep it in the static surface, so then we can kind of play around with the shape and the form of the garment before we're really getting into kind of detailing out fabric or draping characteristics. Oh yeah, yeah. There's one of our models that has some of the dynamic surfaces
I was just looking
right
through the
there.
files. I was like really I forgot that we had this new apparel uh, files that by the way anyone watching you can access right now if you go to import and you go to asset library um, and go to 3D assets and you go to apparel. There's a ton of great stuff in there, so I would definitely check that out.
Oh, the other thing here, I'm just gonna hand over some zipper pulls and zipper heads. Some
Oh,
of them
this
have
is
some really cool
oh, this is great.
assets connected to the files as well.
Whoopsies.
Yeah, all good. So yeah, so this is what's going on with the mannequin here. Is a static surface. So trying to just kind of get a nice form, get the silhouette. But what we wanted to do is if we wanted to play around with the silhouette more, we can pull and tug on all of this all of the surfacing. to play around with the shape before we do add in some of these wrinkles or folds underneath the armpit or here at the elbow in this jacket model here. But this would allow to say, hey, you know what? We can even take this sketch right here. I'm gonna oops, to make a little copy of this, bring this down here and play around with the center back here behind the mannequin. And let's say like there's a heat zone here, and we want to, we can. Actually, I'm gonna take another sketch too. 'Cause that's kind of telling me that I want to maybe keep it thin here, but maybe around like maybe the kidney areas. Really want to keep those warm. So, what if we went back in here and say, um, maybe with our stroke tool, I'm gonna change colors. And what if we go to, I'm just kind of draw a little outline of maybe just like a shape that I want to kind of cover the kidneys with a heavier padding. In the edit mode. That. Play around with the shaping real quick. I think the kidneys are a little higher than that, aren't they? Kind of right here. So I'm gonna go back. I kind of like that shape. So let's just say we want to add. This is base layer, skin layer first, and then maybe you want to kind of pop up this layer. So what I'm gonna do is take that edge cut tool, and kind of like what you mentioned, Jaren, in your first question was about how am I laying out the topology. I'm not. I laid it out just in clean warp and wefts and try not to make too many lines warp or weft in the topology. But what I'm going to do is actually take this line, and then I'm going to kind of outline generally kind of outline what I just drew.
Oh, I see what you're doing. I used to use this as a trick to create like part lines. So I would like draw the part line, and then I would use the knife feature to um, cut as you are doing, and I would actually do two, like I would do it two times, so that
Uh-huh.
so that I would then be able to delete the faces in the middle, and it would actually have like that part separation. It was very kind of tedious, but it worked for what I was trying to do. But yeah, this is very interesting.
Here's this. There you go.
Some people in the comments talking about taking this into Blender and then running a cloth simulation, and then
Yes, I was.
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead. No, please.
Oh, yes, I saw that. I was trying to play around with that a little while ago, but then again, like I'm a straight up apparel designer, so I have a ton to learn as far as like Blender and everything. And but yeah, I have seen it, and I did play around with the cloth simulation, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I didn't even think about that, but that's a cool way to definitely take the data out of this and maybe have a realistic way that it sits on the body. Um, there's other people talking about Clo versus different workflows, how that's like sort of starting with patterns, whereas here it seems like you're starting with the way the garment actually drapes over the body. Um,
Yes,
and so
and it's really.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
It was
Oh,
as
yeah,
a
yeah.
designer, since you're starting with the draping, how would you translate this into sort of a sort of a pattern where you want to go into a pattern direction if you wanted to maybe make this, or is that even what you're trying to do? Is this more so just conveying a concept for you?
this is definitely conveying a concept for me now. This is, I mean, if you can imagine this as kind of like currently a designer would do their their insight, their athlete or their consumer insight, and then they'll hand sketch those hand sketch the ideas, and or maybe go straight into like Adobe Illustrator and start sketching some of their ideas and thoughts. And then they would take those 2D images and then hand them off to, say, a pattern maker, or maybe make their own patterns themselves. So if you can imagine that this process, this current process that you and I are in right now, um, is that process, that hand sketch, or specifically that Adobe, the Illustrator process.
Mm,
The cool thing about this is when you think when the designer is thinking about solutions like this in 3D, what they're doing is then they have to translate these 3D thoughts and solutions into 2D. How am I going to convey this idea
yeah.
on paper, or how am I going to convey this idea in Illustrator in 2D? Where, as opposed to, you have this research, you can jump into Gravity Sketch and already keep that process in 3D, where we're not spending that mental energy of trying to translate into 2D and then back into 3D. We keep that flow state, we keep that cadence going, without kind of like the noise of trying to figure out how am I going to convey this image
Yeah.
on paper, or on a 2D screen.
Yeah. That's a great point. And that makes so much sense. I'm like, I feel like I'm learning so much because I really don't, um, yeah, I don't really come from an apparel background, and I haven't worked in apparel, and but I've had a lot of like, I guess, um, interest in it in terms of like as like a hobby thing, or just like as you're curious about things. I've tried to do a kind of couple like personal projects where I did some apparel elements in Gravity Sketch, and um, it seemed like a great way to just like think through how, just like anything else, like how is it going to wrap, what's the placement of different elements, and yeah, it's like everything you said there. It's extremely great way to just like think through the process. um,
A-
yeah.
Absolutely, think through the process. Again, eliminate without try to try to translate the process. You're still What Gravity Sketches has allowed me to, like you mentioned, think through the process,
Mm,
and think through the process focused on the product, focused on the solution, rather than focusing on, you know, how am I going to draw it?
yeah.
That takes away from, the not true, but it takes away from that translation. Trying to figure out that translation takes you away from, the real intent is, of design, is designing the solution, designing the story, rather than trying to design how you're going to draw it in 2D. But that's the cool thing about one of the big reasons, why I really fell in love with Gravity Sketch is it's allowed me to really explore product, um, rather than trying to hone in my drawing skills, which that obviously that's what we do, that's what we have been doing for many years. And I still think that's super important.
Yeah.
Hand drawings and everything like that. It's just Gravity Sketch has helped accelerate the communication process, about the product. um, just because it is, you're like, you start your thoughts are already in 3D. Let's help continue that.
There's Michael Miller on here on the chat said something interesting. Says, um, where, and I'm curious what your thoughts are, Jeff. It says where this is good is if you scanned a person's form like Lewis Hamilton and needed to make a garment specifically to his body, then take this out and lay down the cut lines with UV maps. Um, like basically using the UV maps of the actual 3D, because in a way UV maps in a clothing application or clothing sense or a fabric sense are almost like or basically like patterns. Um,
Hmm.
and so that's really interesting to me. Um, I wonder if that workflow is viable for someone working in apparel. I wouldn't know because I haven't, but yeah, curious on your thoughts on that.
Okay, so scan a body or an athlete,
Yeah.
right? And then layer the patterns on top,
Well, they're saying
or draw
bring
on top.
bring it. They're saying bring a scan in, like how you're using the mannequin here. Instead of the mannequin, you use a real world scan, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
you create the garment over top of that.
So make it completely, yeah, be completely bespoke
Yeah,
to the athlete,
that'd be cool.
right? That would be super cool. Oh, we
Yeah,
can definitely do that.
that's a nice idea. I'm absolutely. Nezreen says I'm absolutely using Gravity Sketch in making clothes for my own avatar with my own measurements. That's awesome. That's great.
Oh, that's super cool.
Well, if you want to share process pictures or imagery of that, Nezreen, tag us, send it to us, DM us, whatever you want. We'd love to see the results of that. That's definitely a really cool application.
Absolutely.
Send it to us on Instagram. Send it, message us or tag us because we'd love to see that.
So I'm covering, oops, I'm going in and doing some padding
Yeah, this is looking really
around
cool.
some large muscle groups. And do one more line. And yeah, material wise, I mean, this could be this could be a polyfill. This could be a mix of a poly and actually real down. Because it's closer to a higher sweat group, maybe it's kind of a mix of poly and down. Um, and then I'm using the crease tool, kind of the mix of the crease tool and just the regular and a non-crease lines to create some puffiness right there.
Now I'm not. I know that some garments feature these these padding zones, for different parts of the body. What's the function behind that? I could take a guess, but I'm not from this industry, so I'd love to know what's the function behind the padding.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, I mean, in the context of like thermoregulation, and that's kind of what the concept is when we're
Mm,
out in
yeah,
when we're out in areas like this, super cold. There's going to be high, there's going to be some really high fluctuations between warm and cold, and especially when your body starts warming up, you're going to need that, thermoregulation, and that's literally what it is regulating the body temperature. So um, we really want to keep covered, the some of the muscle groups, keep them warm. Don't want to, for especially for like this activity, don't want the muscle groups to get cold and everything. So we want to keep those warm, keep the joints warm, and then areas around high heat, high sweat, where we need more of that air. We need more of the, maybe the areas of heat exhaust. So we don't want to cover up those areas and everything. So it's, the kind of the funny thing is, or funny, let's see, a metaphor I guess that I'm kind of thinking of is like, when you're sleeping and maybe you have a duvet on and you're sleeping and then you get a little bit warm, but you just stick your leg out and not your whole, you don't take the covers off your whole body. You just kind of stick your leg out and it's like, oh,
yeah.
actually this is all I need. You get some of that blood cooling down through through your extremities and cooling the rest of your body. So it's kind of like that. Like this is your duvet, and the other parts, are your some of your extremities that maybe you kind of stick out from under the covers.
No, that actually makes like a ton of sense. That's a great analogy. I That makes total sense to me now. They explain it that way, and really interesting, really as well. Like that. you don't have to have like crazy padding all over every square inch. Like you can really like focus it in, and I guess keeping that mobility, which is what you'd want in something like this.
Yes, mobility is definitely key, and that's going to be a kind of a combination of material and pattern making.
And just as a check on time,
Oh shoot!
we're about
Oh
20
darn it!
till. We still have 20 minutes. I just wanted to throw it out there just so you know, because I know it's really easy, including myself. I lose track of time so easily when I'm in here. But um,
Yeah, right.
but yeah, I just wanted to throw that up because I sometimes forget to check actually. This is looking really
Shoot.
cool though. Oh, Mac Miller, sorry, I said Mac Miller. Michael Miller says that he works in fashion in Milan, so that's why he was sharing some of that information, which is yeah.
Oh,
Thanks for
right
saying.
on.
Thanks for sharing that. They say that I guess they get brand tech packs, which are made in Clo, and then the UV islands are used as the cut patterns, which that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, that's very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Michael. So what is this here, Jeff? Is this like another part of the modular design that you were mentioning earlier?
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't realize it was I had a whole design idea. I was gonna do one more modular piece, and this is gonna be one of the parts that you would that the marathon runner would strip off. But this would be just I was gonna do where I am working on just kind of a padded kind of a padded situation here. So this would be underarm is a high sweat zone. This is all nice and thin as you would see here. This was going to be, or this will be, a just a padded sleeve.
Oh
So
wow.
so it would be kind of what the same approach that I'm doing with the kind of like this triathlon suit is. Um, I'm going to raise some of the topology to give some padding aesthetics. I'm just kind of gently wrapping. I don't know if you can. My kids are playing in the background. I don't know if you can hear them. They're just screaming at each other.
No, it's all good. We can't really hear much on this side. At least I can't. Oh, by the way, I hope everyone's staying warm today. I know it's quite cold, especially a lot of places in the U.S.
Oh yeah.
You're on the West Coast, Jeff, right? And I'm Central time zone, so we're getting our own cold front as well.
Yeah, it's Fahrenheit. Yeah, Fahrenheit. We're just in the highs of I think we're out of the teens now. I think we're just like 20 degrees. I'm gonna give
Yeah,
this a little bit of an ergonomic, hem right here. That's the other cool thing about Gravity Sketch is, you know, that was an unlock for me about 4 years ago when I started using Gravity Sketch was I could start playing around with these shapes that wrap around the body that I can't
yeah.
really describe, in 2D. I'd have to draw a front view, a back view, to describe this. But I can draw the idea that I had in my head exactly how I had it in my head, and like, oh, the ergonomics did work, or like, oh, that actually didn't work at all. Let's, really helped me. Move on quicker and faster. If quicker or faster, like yes, stay with the concept, or nope, move to something else that can work. So this helped me really, again, fail fast and fail often, which
That's a
is
good
always good.
Yeah, that's a good shout out. I will attest to that as well. Like that's one of my favorite parts to get to in any creation process. I guess I mean it could be as early as sketching, but like whenever I'm in Gravity Sketch and I'm like looking at something, I can just pull that control point and just mess around with how the form goes around in 3D, which like you said is hard to maybe describe in one sketch, or maybe even wrap your brain around in 2D if you're trying to sketch it out. Whereas in here, it's like intuitively you're like, oh, that'd be nice if that sort of like you said, ergonomically wrapped around the wrist area at an
Yes.
angle. And so like that's just something I test. I just want to attest to as well. Something one of my favorite parts of the process, just messing around with shapes.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
when it comes to ideations, like if I'm like so far I'm kind of digging this outfit. I mean, I can you know take our smart move tool and make a copy of this drawing and continue on with a different idea. So yeah, it's like it's just a lot of a lot of different approaches to using this tool. Trying to add that padding. This is going to be almost like a airlock. So imagine like kind of like a neoprene top that's kind of sealing in the heat here and making the fit nice and
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. Maybe the tool. Oops. There you go. Yeah, so I'm just kind of sealing this in. That.
Michael Miller says, I will be showing this video to our team because brands need to understand how useful Gravity Sketch is for concepting. A clothes can be difficult because you have to consider the line work before it drapes the form. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that well, thank you very much, Michael. I'm hoping they find it useful. I mean, certainly Jeff has found it useful in his workflow, and I think it would be. But thanks for the kind words. Absolutely.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
Thank you.
Nah, this is making me want to start an apparel project myself now.
Oh, that'd be dope.
You're getting me inspired, Jeff.
Ah, I love it. I love it. Are you going to be in London?
Yeah, I will be.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'll
Let's
be there.
If we have time, that'd be awesome. One thing I do want to do, and I haven't figured it out yet. Would love to have like sketch sessions.
Oh yeah,
Like just kind of like what we're doing now, is just talking and everything. So
absolutely. I think we should do it. Let's make it happen.
I think that'd be dope. So this little flat area, this cuff, since we can cut ergonomics into this, I'm gonna maybe take the separate tool and make these into a different color, because that's going to be neoprene, where
Oh, I see. I see.
the yellow can still be the puffy fabric or puffy material. Take that. Kind of here like a car mechanic again. Okay, and that should be. oh,
Nezrina is asking, why does the cuff piece look green? Is it a special surface or is it just a new color? It's just a new color. So Jeff basically created a new surface and is just differentiating different parts of the design. So it's not a special type of surface. It's just sub D, just like the rest of the garment. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just your design choice, right, Jeff?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? Oh, you know what? Before I separate, I was gonna. How much time do we have? Oh shoot, we have 11 minutes. I was gonna do maybe. It'd be kind of fun to do a vertical baffles. Time.
Oh, what's that? What's vertical baffle?
The baffles is in jackets, like in those puffy jackets, and you see squares, or you typically see squares, or you see horizontal
Yeah,
squares or rectangles and everything.
yeah.
Those are called baffles. Each little or no, each chamber is called a baffle, and that's so
Oh,
like the feathers or the thermophils. Um, so feathers, like specifically, so the feathers don't fall all the way down to the bottom of the garment.
wow. Wow, that's interesting. That makes so much sense though when you explain it. I always kind of like I noticed that design element on a lot of jackets and different like vests and things, but I never um I guess I never knew what it was called, and I thought it was more Would you say it's both aesthetic and functional in its purpose? Or
Absolutely.
okay,
There's just because of like the advances in say sonic welding. Sonic welding is a process of like imagining like bonding or gluing materials together, layers of materials together instead of sewing it. Um, that enables brands to um, create their own designs
yeah,
of baffle. And
that's
also,
cool.
the aesthetics can also be the function because um, yeah, maybe certain shapes across the body, creates air channels. It
Yeah,
makes say maybe this vertical one that I'm drawing here potentially it was I didn't design it to be this way, but could potentially channel air up and out of the garment because air rises. So you
mm,
have another chance of like thermal regulation. So let's pretend it was something like this vertical baffle could be at the center back of the wear back here that would potentially those channels because they're situated vertically would allow the heat to rise and not
mm,
get so trapped underneath the garment.
wow.
But yeah, this is just kind of like the baffle. And again, I'm drawing this without dynamic surfacing yet, so there's no fabric characteristics or sorry, draping characteristics in here, and I probably don't have time to show you that. Um, but yeah, just I mean, I'm kind of doing what it would take to make those fabric characteristics utilizing this tool, the edge cut tool.
Well, this has
And
been really
this is
great. Still, what you've shown though, Jeff, this has been awesome.
oh, right on. Yeah, this is one of our our best friends. There you go. So
And
kind of a combination. Uh-huh.
I just want to mention to anybody watching, if you, especially if you joined a little bit in the middle of this, we've got a whole playlist series on our YouTube channel for apparel that Jeff is responsible for. So please go and check that out if you want to dive a bit deeper into this way of working in Gravity Sketch, and check that out. We'll link it after the live is over, but you can easily find it in our playlists as well. Just wanted to shout that out real quick.
There's a little bit of kind of padding. I could go into a little more detail, but and this would be kind of like so the athlete can figuratively kind of strip that off when they get a little bit hotter, and
Yeah.
put it into a stash pocket. I had another thing where I wanted to do yeah, we only have 7 minutes, but a vest would go over this, and then these can like layer into the vest or be stashed into the vest.
Oh, that'd be so
Um,
cool.
and then yeah, this same kind of concept. I'm just gonna take that. Oops. I was gonna take this, and this would be imagine this if these were for your calves
Yeah.
as well too. But that's kind of the concept I was kind of thinking for to help um regulate an athlete's temperature in these kind of environments. See a little bit of the heat of the sun,
Yeah.
and then the shadow. So hot, cold, hot, cold. But this is obviously with mega extremes and everything. And then I think it would have a kind of big, maybe a big, you know, balaclava on there. But
Thinking about hydration, that's an interesting design problem too. Like, how could there
oh
be hydration integrated onto the garment, but it doesn't freeze, or maybe there's some sort of
yeah, I had an idea.
insulatory.
I have an inspiration.
Whoa, that's
So,
cool.
this because this is the air pump. This would be for warming. What I was kind of thinking this would be kind of cool if because I was going to draw this to it anyway. If this was actual like you mentioned hydration, so it's a
Yeah.
balance around the body, and
Wow.
also it's like let's say it is say the temperature of the water of the liquid is at a certain temperature, kind of like in spacesuits. They
Yeah.
ran those water tubes in their base layers. So I thought this would have been kind of cool if we had more time to keep drawing into that and then layer on the shell of the vest.
Maybe we need to do a
Anyway,
few. Maybe we need to do a few more of these, Jeff. I'm starting to think
yeah,
we might need to do some more apparel related stuff. I think that'd
That
be
would be
great.
cool. That would be
Yeah,
cool. But
that's a great idea though. I love that. That's so cool,
isn't
man.
that neat? Yeah, I saw this. I was like, whoa! Instead of like air, like yeah, like you just mentioned, awesome that you brought that up.
Maybe the
Hydration.
so you think maybe the temperature of the body could keep the water from freezing temperature, possibly.
Yes. Yeah, the body, or like say the starting point of this, it's heated, um, and then it's heated, and then it helps regulate the body.
That's cool.
It's and also because it seems to be more distributed, or that's how we can kind of sketch into like, oh, what is the most distributed, balanced distribution in there,
Yeah.
where they can actually run with this, and then gently sip on this to stay hydrated, and yet keep it balanced, and keep the body, or help keep the body, this being a component to regulate the temperature. Boom.
I love that. That's so cool. Wow. Well, I just want to say, Jeff, thank you so much for for giving your time. Really, I know we actually got 4 minutes left. I didn't know if there was something else
Oh,
you wanted to show or make,
no,
but
yeah,
um,
that's
didn't
kind
mean
of
to get
about the
too ahead.
gist of it.
Cool.
Oh, no, that's okay. Yeah. If
Yeah, this is
yeah, that
great.
was kind of about the gist of it. Just how we can just pull in references, inspiration, design briefs, even just even like maybe pattern doodles, and then you can take that 2D pattern and may draw it out how it could show up on the body, anything. How these are great starts to have inspiration around you. Kind of like I was watching some of the other live videos and everything, Jaren, with some of our previous designers. Apparel design isn't anything different, just a slightly different language. Warp and weft, for instance, as opposed to like say topology, um, and everything like that. But we're all kind of our process is all kind of a similar, just
Yeah,
different language in apparel design. But
yeah, that's true. That's what I'm starting to see too, as I've touched a lot of different, um, I guess, topics and talking to a lot of people. It's design is design, and every industry has their lingo, right? But we're all ultimately needing to do the same things to communicate. So this has been really great, and I think this is a great starting point for anyone out there. I'll plug it again since I said it in the beginning, but for anyone that didn't hear, we have a challenge running right now in our community, where and you may have gathered already, but the topic is to design apparel for an Arctic marathon. So that's why we chose this topic for to live sketch today. But if you want to submit your concept, your idea, and hopefully today's sketch has inspired you and given you some tools to go in that approach your ideas, tag us with the hashtag Gravity Sketch Challenge on Instagram, as well as just hashtag Gravity Sketch. Tag us, and we'd love to see what you create. Um, but I appreciate everybody watching and taking your time from this easy day to watch a little bit of apparel design and Gravity Sketch. If you missed the beginning, this will be available as soon as the live is over. But yeah, is there anything that you wanted to shout out real quick, Jeff, as well before we closed off?
uh, no, except for thank you, Jaren, for setting this up and everything. I'm really excited. I was really excited to do this today and everything, and I think just the big takeaway is um, Gravity Sketch has helped me, and I my hopes is it helps other people is to keep their ideas in 3D.
Mm.
Um, it starts in everybody in our heads in 3D, wrapping around the body, in and out, you know, um, and if we can help a designer keep their ideas and their creations or the creative flow in 3D, I think that's going to be it's a win-win for all creatives out there. If they can use our tool, use Gravity Sketch to enable them to keep talking in 3D and thinking in 3D instead of translating things into 2D. I think that the processes um, will can be communicated in so much more dynamic ways, even quicker, faster for other people to understand as well as communicate them. But
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Jeff. We'd love to see what all you create out there. Tag us, even if it's not for a challenge. Um, we always love seeing what people are up to. So thank you, Jeff. Thank you for your time today, especially on this